The Entrepreneur's Library, episode 211.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Library, the only book-centric podcast that reviews all the top-selling business books and shares authors' perspective firsthand. This is your resource to finding the next great book that will enable you to grow personally and professionally. Welcome your host, Wade Danielson.
Welcome back to the EL. Today we have Trevor Crane, author of High-Paying Clients, a simple system proven to sell high-ticket products and services. But before we dive in, I'd like to mention again, if you guys would like to hear an author come on, hit me up at Wade D. Danielson on Twitter and let me know who you would like to hear come on and share their book with us. But let's bring on Trevor and dive right into the book. Welcome, Trevor, and thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Library.
Nice to be here, Wade.
Before we take a deep dive into your book, High-Paying Clients, will you take just a moment to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you personally.
Sure. For the last probably 12 years, I've been a full-time business coach and consultant. So I work with small business owners, medium-sized business owners. My expertise is helping them find that extra money laying around in their business. I've gotten that experience. Oh, by the way, I've gotten that. I help them find the extra money laying around in their business without spending more money. So I help them improve their systems and processes and drive bottom line revenue. I got that from actually running my own companies. I've had a business in water sports and tourism. I had one in marketing and advertising, and then I had one in environmental protection. And I've had a lot of successes. I've had a lot of failures. I've actually learned more from my failures than the successes. But I put all of the best of what I've learned into our new book.
Perfect. And so, Trevor, let's jump right into that. Let's jump right into your book, High-Paying Clients. A simple stop, and maybe make sure I have this right, but a simple stop system proven to sell high-ticket products and services, which was just made available or will be made available actually here in a couple of days, but by the time this actually airs, it'll have just been made available April 24th, 2015. And Trevor, we're going to move quickly, but our whole goal here today is to help this future reader, the listener, get a great idea of what your book is all about. And so we have a couple different questions that'll help them figure that out. And the first one is, what was the inspiration behind writing High-Paying Clients?
You know, it's a great question because I've got several books that I've written that are actually sitting there ready to go and publish. And I decided to write this book because it was really the best of what I do for my clients. And as I looked at what I wanted to promote, I just figured I wanted to give my best stuff away first. This is what helps people convert the sale. I mean, a business is about generating leads. It is about closing the deal from those leads. And how can you do that quickly instead of having that be a long process? And then the third thing would be fulfillment. So I think a business is broken down into those three simple categories: leads, sales, and fulfillment. And one of the greatest areas of new revenue for a business is figuring out how to convert that client, how to go ahead and use your existing resources and sell quickly. How do you add a lot of value in the sales process so it doesn't feel, for lack of a better word, icky? And then how to you go ahead and maybe convert some of the existing leads that you've got. Get that client buying from you quickly and buying from you for forever. So the inspiration was looking at what I do best and what I could give away as a great value add to kind of practice what I preach. So we pre-launched this book almost 3 months ago, and we became #1 bestsellers in a day, which I was very proud of. And I did it with my wife with a little campaign that we used. And we've been making sales without any marketing of this book. People are just finding it on Amazon and buying it. So we're looking forward to having it actually release on the 24th.
Excellent. And books are now inundated, or I should say, readers are now inundated with books. There's so many that are coming out on a daily basis. So to me, this question is so important, and that's what makes your book different from others regarding the same or similar topic.
Good question. I'd say another one of my strengths is breaking things down into something that's really simple. And in fact, Wade, what I'll do today is I'll go into a lot of the content of my book, so any of your listeners can go ahead and hear, is that something I want? And what I describe the first 4 steps of my process being is it's a simple sales strategy. It's just 4 simple steps. And what's unique, I think, about my book is that it's something that is functionally created results for myself and every one of my clients. And this has affected tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, I come in and extract someone's sales system, what is unique and works for them, and I break it into these simple steps. We'll get into 4 of these simple parts and then 2 of the kind of advanced or bonus strategies kind of it. And then what's unique is that this actually creates results. There's not a lot of hype here. There's just really results that you can use, and you can use to improve your own business and sales and bottom line revenue, and you can train your team. I mean, when I describe the steps, you're going to hear that they're very simple, they're easy to remember, and if all you had were the steps, they're still going to serve you. You can go ahead and understand the process to a certain degree just because it's so simple. It's kind of like, have you ever heard the phrase, Wade, that I apologize, I wrote you such a long letter. I didn't have time to write you a short one. I mean, most people will, blather on and not understand their own communication. Like, it takes genius, I think, to break something down into simple steps. So, oh my God, I think I just claimed to be a genius there. I don't know that that's what I wanted to do, but I would say that is one of the things that makes this process unique. It's simple, and everybody can use it.
No, I appreciate that. And this next question is how they can engage. You'll go a little bit with what you were ending up there with, but how would you like the reader to engage with your book? Is this one that they can jump in, cherry picking information as needed, or did you really design it to be read from front to back?
Good question. It actually is one kind of both, because it depends on what somebody needs. So, for example, in the first part of my book, after I cover the basic overview of me and a little bit of social proof as far as the results that we've created and a little bit of my background, I'll share some of my vulnerabilities and some of my failures. I get into the benefits of high-paying clients, which are pretty obvious to most. I mean, I share some of my stories about how I've run businesses where I charged a small amount of money and some where I charged a large amount of money, and that it's the same amount of effort to go ahead and convert the high-paying clients as it is to create a low-paying client. And so if people get that concept already, and I'm assuming they do, they can kind of skip over that section. They'd say, you know what, I get it. I mean, they might like the stories that are in there because they're very relevant and can actually teach in and of themselves. But I go over 3 main parts of this process: the benefits, the beliefs that somebody has to have in order to sell. And I'll tell you what, Wade, there's a lot of people that try to close a deal. They're trying to make a sale. They're trying to get that high-paying client, like the name of the book talks about. And they can have everything lined up and all in a system and know it exactly. But if they have any doubt in themselves, or let's say they have a doubt in their offer, they're not clear about a really compelling offer, or more importantly, Wade, they don't know the result that their product or service creates for their client. So they'll talk about features and benefits. They'll say, my thing is big, my thing is awesome, it has a cute name, it has whatever. But if they don't have the belief and the understanding and the language around the results that their product or service creates for their client, they're going to sabotage their success. And what can happen is that people can smell, is that your potential prospect can sense, I say smell, can sense whether or not you're conflicted in any way. So that might be a really good section that someone could flip to. Or someone else may say, I'm a very seasoned, influential guy or gal, and I already know my process very well. I just want to go ahead and pick this guy's brain and figure out his system. Let's cut the BS. I know the benefits. I know the beliefs I got to have. I think my stuff is awesome. I know my offer is very clear. I know how to communicate that result to my client in words that are going to reflect their needs and wants, not mine, but theirs, right? Very important. They might go right to the blueprint section, which, quite frankly, I give away a gift in the book and some extra bonuses. So how do they engage in this book? This is a very interactive book. I give a lot of gifts away. There are links inside the book to some video tutorials that can help walk someone through it. But for example, this blueprint, I give away what I call my $300,000 holy grail. It's a free PDF that they can get. It's my checklist. It's the exact system I use every single time I speak with a client and I'm looking to convert that high-paying client. It's one I've customized to all of my private clients, and I'm literally giving it away. And it actually has a link to a webinar where I teach the doggone thing. Because here's the one, you asked about the engagement factor, Wade. I would say if people only get this blueprint and they print it out or read the book and the explanation of it, they're missing the game. They're actually not going to get, if they get something for free or nearly free, they can have a tendency to value it for what they paid for it, which ends up, if you paid little or nothing, then this is worth little or nothing. And this is not, Wade, this is gold. This is the best stuff you can possibly have. It's kind of like I went and had a training one time by a samurai sword guy. I was taking some martial arts courses, and we went to this weekend program where he said, hey, here's a sharp samurai sword. And he's like, before I'm going to even let you pick it up, let me teach you how to hold it, how to move it, so you don't cut your leg off. So what I would warn people about is to make sure that you engage with this book. Go get the free tutorials, get the downloads, interact with it, read it, pick the parts that are most important to you, watch the training, go to the free webinar that I give away and treat it as though you just spent a lot of money for it so that you respect it. Because if you just print this out and put it on your desk, you're going to have something that's virtually useless. You're not going to understand how to use it. And you could go out and try to use it like I could have with that samurai sword and hurt yourself, cut your leg off, or not have success. So I've done everything I can in this book to go ahead and support the reader so they can get something valuable from the book that they can implement in their life and in their business right away. So I hope that answers your question. I know that was a long answer, but that's how I want them to engage, is consume the information, find what serves you best, and just study it. Because if you know how to use it well, you're going to have a really powerful tool in your business.
So Trevor, you just gave us a great background, some of the purpose, and then actually you've told us how to use the book, as far as the guide. So now I'm going to ask you to take a little bit deeper dive into the content itself. Will you let this future reader, take the next couple minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and let this future reader know what your book is all about?
Absolutely. So let's break down the parts of the blueprint here. I'll give you the content in a very simple format of these 4 initial steps. And these are ones that I've used to help the CEO of a company, the manager that runs sales departments, how they can train their entire staff. And it's 4 simple steps, and they rhyme. It's nice. It's hi, why, try, and buy. Those are the 4 steps. Hi, why, try, and buy. And so I'll cover them real quickly, and then I'll get into the last 2. So hi is very simple. It is you shake someone's hand. You say, hi, how are you doing? This is the building rapport section of the process. And just doing this well, and I give some insights into how this is done, if you really build rapport well and somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, and you just really connect with that other human, that in and of itself can get people to want to buy from you right away. It's happened to probably almost everybody. It's happened to me. It's happened to somebody. It's happened to you, the listener. Because if people really like you and trust you, they're going to want to buy from you. And too often, when somebody is making the sale, they forget this part. In fact, I have a friend of mine who just recently closed over $180,000 worth of sales in the last 30 days. And he did that because of this one thing. Actually, 2 things. I'll give that other one away as well. He adjusted his rapport. He said, you know what? He knows so much about his product or service that he gets into talking about it all the time. Like this is all he's going to do. And he just blah, 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 rambles. Building rapport is asking questions. It's engaging with the other human. It's giving the other human time to answer and to model your response, modeling them. You use language that they use back towards them. It's a very simple process, and it can be done in just a fraction of a second by smiling and shaking someone's hand. But too often, it's a portion that gets skipped over, especially by a business owner, a salesperson, whatever. So it's an extremely important step. That's high. The second step is why. You know, I learned this, and I kind of coined this phrase when my wife went in for her own, she was going in for her first facial right before we got married. And she went in to have a facial done and have like a makeover done. And she got a gift from her girlfriends to go ahead and go get this free facial and makeover. And she wanted to look really good for her wedding. And unfortunately, she had a negative experience. She went in, she asked them for their advice. She said, hey, what can I do? What can I buy? I want to look really good. And the girl who was answering the questions just did the facial. She actually said, go online, look on Google, and you can go ahead and find out some of this stuff and you can buy these creams. My wife left. She had an okay time, but she left disappointed. She went back to another place a few months later. She bought her own gift. I think she got it on Groupon. She went in, and instead she had an experience where the person who engaged with her asked her questions. She said, why are you here? How can I help you? And she really got deep. And what happened is my wife ended up spending hundreds of dollars, I don't know what it was, close to $1,000 on more treatment and lotions and potions and whatnot so she could look beautiful, because the person serving her spent the time to ask what she wanted and then gave it to her. And there's two things to probe here when you're in why. So this is the second step. You want to probe for pain. You ask questions about why they want your products or services, and you find out what it is they're looking for, and if they don't get it, how it's going to hurt them. Like if they don't get that result. So you build pain that is experienced by the client, not you, right? That's by the client. And then you probe for pleasure. And so what I'll also be giving away are some of the benchmark questions of what you can ask in this process. Wade, does that make sense? I want to keep going here, but I want to make sure I've been talking for a second that you can still hear me.
Absolutely. No, it sounds fantastic. Continue, please.
Okay, thank you. I just don't want to go on too long, just in case I lost you there. So you probe for pain, you probe for pleasure with questions. You want to ask them on the pleasure side, like, what do you want ultimately? And listen, and you're going to write down some of that information and use that same language back with them. That's also back to high. That's building rapport. So the first two are the most important. It's high and it's why. You're really finding out why they want what they want. They don't want your product or service for its features and benefits. They want it for the results that's going to give them. And I give you a process. You can have this as almost a checklist to your typical system that you talk to a client every single time. Point number 3 is after you find out what they want and why they want it, so important, you then give them try. Like you now make them an option. You say, hey, which would you like here? And we give it to you really simply in what I recommend, small, medium, and large. Oftentimes people will give people too many options, and a confused mind says no. And I think that's a writer downer. A confused mind says no. And so if you are confused or your client is confused, they're going to be confused. They're going to say no and they're going to do nothing. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure you give people a very clear, concise, and compelling call to action. That is this. I would recommend you take this either A, B, or C. Small, medium, or large. It's like different levels of people can engage with you, all of which will help give them the result. You make the recommendation about which one you recommend. I'm going over this real quickly, but that's it. Simply, in buy, I ask for you to close the deal. I give you different strategies and benchmark questions to make sure you collect a decision. Yeses are great. Nos are great because you don't have to waste any more time. Maybes will kill you. So you want to avoid that. They're going to waste your time, money, energy, resources. They're going to be exhausting. So I show you how to close that deal at the end in a very cool, elegant way. The last two things I throw in as bonuses here to go ahead and really give people a reason to buy now is you throw in a bonus, like I do with my book, right? I'm giving a lot of extra value in my book with all the interactivity and tutorials and free downloads and things. And then I give away a guarantee. I highly recommend that no matter what your business is, that you at least talk about your guarantee when you're trying to close the deal. So again, high, why, try, buy, guarantee, and bonuses at the end. And that's the basics of the blueprint.
So Trevor, you just went over a ton of phenomenal content and gave some context behind it as well. And that's why I sometimes feel like this next question can be a little bit mean to ask of someone, because I'm asking you to then give us almost, the one takeaway from everything you just said. So what's one concept, principle, or action item out of everything you just discussed with us, out of your entire book, that you would want the reader to take away if they only could take one thing?
I say this all the time, and it's a great question. It's get help. I think the biggest thing that I've learned in my businesses is I've had successes, I've had failures, but if you want to improve something, the greatest way to get the result that you want is to just hire somebody, get help. Somebody who's already created the result before you, somebody who's excellent at what they do, and just be served. I mean, a lot of business owners think they have to figure it out themselves, and that's not the case. Model success. Find someone who creates that result on a regular basis, and they have, and I talk about this in the book, not just confidence, like, I know I can do this, right? I think I can was that little engine that could, but someone who has conviction. They've done it so many doggone times. They've been up this mountain so many times. You go to hire them, and you're looking to go ahead and create a result, and you're just like, you know what? That guy he's done it so many times. I'll bet you he could take me up that same mountain. And he or she holds their hand out and they're like, here, come here. Let me just show you how to do this. Or they do it for you. Get help. You don't have to do it yourself. I give you a lot of resources in this book so you can learn to do it yourself and you can improve your own business. But for the love of God, of all that is holy, if you're going to get one thing from this interview and you don't get the book, go find somebody to help you create the result you want.
That's powerful, and I appreciate you sharing that. And you've said a couple different things that are quote worthy now so far in this interview, and that leads us to the next question, which is, do you have a favorite quote from your book? Something that you wrote that you think will resonate with the audience, and will you take a minute to explain what it means to you?
Well, I mentioned one, and I'll repeat it, but it's not my favorite. But it is that a confused mind says no and does nothing. I mean, that is one that if you don't have a clear, concise, and compelling offer, then you're going to be confusing people. So that's a big one. But I think the one that's most relevant would be, we can only see in someone else what we can also see in ourselves. And I think that that's important, because if you are getting feedback from your clients that they can't afford it, or that whatever your rejection statements are, for some reason they're not buying from you, your clients will mirror you. So if you can see something in someone else, that means if you see greatness in someone, I think that's why we watch, the gymnastics, famous gymnastics thing where this girl had a broken leg and she went and we didn't think she could do the flip, and we watched her finally do the flip, and the United States won the Olympics because she was able to push through her pain, and we all cry because we recognize her greatness. I think that's because we can also see and recognize that in ourselves. Mm-hmm. Or vice versa, if you've got someone who really just annoys the hell out of you, they just piss you off, that there's something in them that you actually used to have in yourself, used to be a characteristic of your personality that you just have moved past, or you wish you had moved past. And so you can't recognize something else in someone else unless you've already seen it in yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing. And when it comes to converting clients, I think that that's very transparent. Any result you're getting from your own sales process is something you've got to deal with in yourself as well.
That's excellent advice. And we'll put that in the show notes at the elpodcast.com so people can go back and reflect more on that quote. And this next question, Trevor, we're not asking for just any book recommendation. We're asking for the book recommendation. So if there was only one book you could suggest based on the way that it's impacted your life, maybe created a lifestyle or a paradigm shift, which book would you recommend?
Got a new book coming out that I would recommend. That's one of mine, but anybody who follows me can find that when it comes out. So I'm not going to mention that. A book I've read recently that I think is transformational is called The 10X Rule. And it's by a gentleman by the name of Grant Cardone. And he talks about the biggest mistakes he's made in his professional career is that he set goals that were too small. So he says set 10x goals, and then he didn't anticipate how much action it was going to take to go get them, about taking 10 times more action to create the result. It's called the 10x rule. I think it's transformational. I completely agree with the principles in that book.
Excellent. An excellent book recommendation. I'm actually staring at it right now. It's the first book that's sitting right next to me, so that's fantastic. So Trevor, before we depart, can you recommend the best way for our listeners to not only get more information on you, but also get more information on your book, High Paying Clients?
Thank you, sir. And I've got two. You can go to my website, trevorcrane.com. I've got a great blog there. The book's available for purchase on my site. And you can follow me on social media and all that from there. And the second one, so Trevor Crane, TrevorCrane, trevorcrane.com. And I've also got my own TV show where I interview extraordinary entrepreneurs trying to extract their success. And that is at greatnessquest.com. My show is called Greatness Quest, and I pick out the top most extraordinary entrepreneurs, and on my show, I'm extracting their success secret. That'll be a great way for us to connect and add a lot of value, and that's part of the marketing that I believe. We're in a new world of marketing. You want to go ahead and make sure that you give tons of value up front instead of just telling people, hey, buy my stuff. Hey, buy my stuff. So those are two resources that will help people get a little bit more value from me and what I teach and believe.
Perfect. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book with us.
It's been a pleasure, Wade. Thank you so much. We've been talking about my favorite subject. Me.
That's awesome. Thanks again for listening in today. If you'd like more information on Trevor or his book, High Paying Clients, check out the show notes at theelpodcast.com.
Looking for your next book idea? Head over to theelpodcast.com, where Wade shares his amazing resource, the top 10 business books recommended by over 500 entrepreneurs, with you for free. That's theelpodcast.com. Till the next time, keep it on the EL.